Welcome to Stadia Talk. I am PC747, operator, owner of the neXup.net. Pretty much my podcast is mainly geared around talking about Google smartphones and tech out there. But this one is really geared around Stadia. I'm excited about Google's new gaming platform. I believe it can be revolutionary. It has a lot of potential. It's coming out in November. I am one of the, I signed up for it, paid my $9. I'm a founder. I've been following the news that's going on about it, and yeah, anytime I get an opportunity to talk about it, I can't wait to really discuss it. So, big news this past week. Google's kind of, they on the horizon of their new gaming system coming out. They decided to run out, Mr. Andrey, I'm a butcher his name, Doronichev, I believe, to Reddit to answer a few questions. Now, let me go ahead and just give you an idea who Mr. Again, apologize for butcher's name, but Doronichev is. He is the director and product manager of Stadia, and he actually came from a background, where before he used to be head of mobile for YouTube. He went from there to a director product manager of the VR and cardboard, which that's kind of went away. So yeah, I guess it was for them a good place to put them into VR. I'm sorry, into Stadia, because like VR, VR was kind of an idea for gaming. And yeah, Stadia is pretty much their gaming platform, so it makes sense to move from there. And plus, since Google Stadia is going to pretty much have a setup where they're trying to really get YouTube involved in there and use YouTube more like a way to compete with Twitch with it, it makes sense to have someone who understands the inner working, who's been around it, to be a part of that. So this is who is basically one of the people running Stadia, and yeah, for him being a director and to answer questions on Reddit, I think it's Google just again kind of trying to calm some concerns and answer the question that people have, because I think they understand there is some excitement. So pretty much, I'm gonna go over some of the questions that were asked. For me, the ones that I snip and highlight as some really good questions, and kind of comment on my thoughts on that. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first question came from Apple Pie Custard, and his question was: is cross-platform a realistic possibility, or is it just something Stadia is hoping to achieve? And Mr. Donovek's response is, I'm going to just call him Andre. Andre's response was, we love cross-platform play, and we are working to get it in every game we can. Both cross-play and cross-progression are big priorities for us. Enabling both cross-play and cross-progression is up to each developer and publisher, but we're doing everything we can to make it happen. Now, a lot of you gamers, you understand what it is for cross-play, to be able to have a way where, I think Fortnite is a big example of that, where no matter what system or what device you have, you can pretty much still play someone who have that. And I understand why this is actually a good question, because for right now, with Stadia kind of being new, until you get enough people involved in that and adopting that, there are going to be some games where, in order for you to compete with other people or get involved with other people, you may have to have that cross-platform, open, so that you can have that, ability. Now, of course, like you said, it's probably, and I think it's the same thing that goes with Xbox and PlayStation. It's going to be up for the developer, and right now, it's I think the biggest challenge for that is going to be, one, is the developer going to want to do that, and two, the challenge of integrating two different systems to where it's competitive. If you're playing like a Xbox or PlayStation, will they have a unfair advantage over someone who is playing like a Stadia, or vice versa? Because again, when you do cloud gameplay, if there's some latency that's going on for that benefits or hinders a player, I can see that being a problem in a fair gameplay, especially when you got rankings involved and a lot going on. I think a classic example would be something like, let's say, a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, where people are playing competitively and ranking up and where a button push or a move can make a difference between someone winning, someone losing, and if it's a result of the hardware or something going on at the server end from the platform being used, especially with Stadia kind of being new, I can see that opened up for people having some issues. So yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be kind of early, and that's kind of a good question there. So the next question, this came from. Now I didn't actually for this question I didn't get the person to ask it, so my apologies. But it was a good question. It says, "Is there a general time frame on when we can stream to devices other than a Pixel 3 that you could give us?" And his response was, "We're aiming to get more devices supported next year. I really want to have Stadia gameplay on every mobile device across Android and iOS at some point. But it's a hard technical challenge and it will take us time. Just need to start somewhere. So we're starting with the devices or the device we know the best and can provide an optimal experience, our latest Pixel phones." Honestly, on that one, I do agree that we will start seeing other phones integrate on this. But look, Google understand that they're trying to, sell some phones right now, and it makes sense to say, okay, we're gonna make this really a feature for Pixel phones. Right now, looking at what Google is competing against and the other manufacturers out there, Apple and Samsung and all that, you know, they're already, going uphill and doing what they can to kind of, you know, outsell these people. And so for them to have kind of a competitive advantage, saying that okay, the ability to play Stadia, ability to play games, and have that as a way for like 4 or 5 months, where yes, if you want to play Stadia on your phone, you have to have a Pixel. That makes sense. And I understand they say they are working with these other companies, and I do think they are, and I do think we eventually will see it come to Samsung, particularly iOS and iPad. But for now, I think what they really want to do is keep it to the Pixel, because it's going to be something that they can offer as a feature to get more people picking up Pixel phones. That makes sense. Next question, and this is by Tynick Console, I believe. And his question was, first he said, "Thank you for doing this AMA," and he asked, "Will there be any kind of support for alternate inputs like gyro, or for wheel pedal setups?" And the response was, "If it's HID compliant, we support it, and we're adding more controllers as we go. Personally, I'm super excited about enabling everyone to play anywhere with whatever controller they want, be a specialized wheel pedal setup for the Xbox adaptive controller." Now, to me, the reason why I actually highlight this, because, I thought this was a good question, because this will open up the doors for a lot more games, particularly racing games, or games dealing with flying or something like that, if you have that set up. And that's a good question. If they are allowed or able to integrate that in with Stadia, it can open up the doors for more developers, particularly, someone who are one or someone or a developer who is wanting to put out a game that is geared around racing or something where, having that extra setup or that wheel or whatever can make a difference. And plus, I think it will open up the door for accessory controller options out there. So, yeah, good question there. So the next question, Cohen's social life. Again, he thanks him for doing the AMA. And his question, well, he actually had two questions. What would be the price? Actually, and the one, only going to cover the one, because I thought his first question was key. And he said, "What would be the price of games on Stadia?" And the response was, "You should expect game price to be competitive with other platforms. After all, it's about developers making money off their amazing work they do." That really didn't give us really an answer that I wanted, and I think it's more because I don't think he can. I wanted to say this may be something that's either it's hush hush or they still don't have the idea. And as far as competitive, you can argue what competitive is. You didn't quite say it's going to be the same amount, or it's going to be less or more. If And that's pretty much what a lot of people are asking. Am I going to pay more for this? Because yes, I understand you say you're trying to help the developers make money, but you're trying to make money too. And I can't help the wonder: are you going to tack on something on top of these games? Especially if someone is not paying to be part of the premium or the paid membership. If they're part of the free, are you going to say for those that buy games under free memberships, we're going to tack on a little bit more for these games? Google is not in this to do this for free. They're in it to make some money, and if they're not making money off the gaming platform or the device itself, and they're pretty much saying we're just allow you to play over our servers. The $9.99 is a good start, but I don't think they're stopping with the $9.99. They're finding some way to get their money somehow, and I won't be surprised again if they are charging developers some type of fee, and as a result, the developers are passing it on to us. So when they say competitive, let's say for an Xbox game, it's $65. It's gonna be, curious to see if that same game that was $65 on the Xbox or PlayStation end up being $75 or $85 on the Stadia platform, because it's a $10 or $20 fee that the developer passing on to us that they're having to pay Google for. So again, good question for that one. And
what do you mean?
Sorry, let me turn off my phone. I had Google Assistant on. Always wanting to help out. So let's go ahead and go to the next question. And it was by Eagle736. And his question was, if you're streaming a game on your phone and you're using the Stadia controller, does your phone and Stadia controller have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi network? And his question, was yes, the controller and the screen must be on the same Wi-Fi network to work, or you can plug the controller in via USB. Now, at first, I ain't gonna lie, when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, why, you think it would be on the same network? Why would you ask this question? But I can probably see why that may be a question being asked. Maybe someone is, got the game on, I don't know, the Wi-Fi network, and they're doing something with the controller where it's hooked up to their phone. I honestly, I forgot why I say that, and maybe I think that was part of that. But either way, okay, to the point. If you're playing a game, it need your controller and the game needs to be to the same Wi-Fi connection, because obviously they're sending, everything to the server. And let's go to the next one. Now, I don't have who asked this question, but this was actually a pretty good one. So I'm actually going to go straight to the answer on this one, because this is kind of key, and I think this really describes what Stadia is really meant to be. And it says, to be clear, Stadia Pro is not Netflix for games, like people have mentioned. A closer comparison would be like Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation Plus. The Pro subscription get 4K HDR streaming, 5.1 sound, exclusive discounts, and access to some free games, roughly one free game per month, give or take, starting with Destiny. And then he says, achievements as a lifelong gamer and pathological overachiever, I love achievements. Of course, we'll have something similar to other platforms. However, it will not be there immediately at launch. Will come a little bit later. So for those who are asking or about the achievements and what how they can keep up their rankings and all that stuff, that answers that. And then a third point he made, you'll see the UI in November. Once we launch, for now, you have to trust me. It's looking good. We have a great UX team, and we're putting a lot of love into it. And then no free game on Stadia base. So basically, if you're not paying for the premium, you're not getting any free games. And I'm not kind of surprised on that one. But Stadia base gives you free access to the state-of-the-art gaming hardware in our database or data center. You spend your money to buy games, you want. Let's see, and we'll get to the basic functionality at launch. Play games across screens, no waiting for download or patches, social, store, etc. Of course, it's not going to be be every feature we announce at our vision announcement that day. Of course, it's not going to be last time. Of course, it's not going to be every feature we announce at our vision announcement at day one, but that's the beauty of a cloud platform. It will be constantly improving. And I think that really kind of clarifies a lot on that one. I'm not kind of surprised on the simple fact that if you are on a free system that you're not going to get any games. But I do like the idea. If you want a pro membership, you are getting a free game each month. Now it's going to be really dependent on what games there are. You can say you're getting a free game, but these are games that no one really care about. Who's going to care? But now, it's Destiny. I'm pretty sure, that a lot of people were excited about that. So to launch with that, it's going to get people on board, or Destiny 2. As far as the achievements and stuff like that, we know that that's going to come along. I think right now, it's still kind of trying to get an idea to get this thing going smooth. And, maybe they're kind of expecting that there's going to be some early hiccups, and they're probably holding off on achievements now to kind of allow the buzz to get out, because they don't want someone complaining that, hey, man, your bug or this has happened that kept me from accomplishing this or setting this. That's something that I can kind of, fathom on why that was the answer there. As far as the UI, I'm actually going to be interested to see kind of what UI they're going to use. I wouldn't be surprised if they use something similar to the lean back UI that's similar to what you see on Google's TV or Android TV. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what UI they go with as far as that. And let's go ahead and go to this. Is this the last one? No. I think this is the second to the last question I have. So let's go ahead and go to this one. When you say one per month, are you talking about a growing pool with one added each month, or are you talking about a single rotating free to play game per month? And this was by Jen Spirit. So good question there. And yeah, his response was growing pool as long as you're a Stadia subscriber. And I like the follow-up question, because I think this is kind of key. It's something that a lot of people have a question about. And it says, if you happen to unsubscribe and then subscribe again in the future, do you lose access to all the pro games you had? And would you also have access to any games added to Pro while you unsubscribe? And his response was, you will regain access to those Pro games you claimed in the past while you were a subscriber, but not the ones that were offered to Pro subscribers while you were unsubscribed, which makes sense. So if you just happen to have a month you unsubscribe, the games that they offer to the subscribers, you won't have access to. But it looks like those that you already claimed as part of being a subscriber, it looks like you're going to keep it. And that would be something that maybe someone who maybe want to strategize and I don't know how Google's going to play that, but let's say, for example, if Google put that out there early in advance and saying that these are the games that's coming up that will be available for subscribers, and you are someone who's looking to save money or save $10 for that month, or $10 for that month, you may say, all right, this month I'm not going to be a subscriber because I don't care about that game. Let it pass. Not that exciting. So I'm gonna pass on for this month, and then the next month there may be a game I care about, so I jump back on board. But then again, I won't be surprised if Google is prepared for that. And their response to that is to not let you know what the upcoming game is going to be until that month hits, so that either you win or you're not. So we're going to have to see how that works. All right, this is by Initial Lingonberry, and it says, if the Stadia service is discontinued, do we know what, if any, will happen with game purchases? Alternately, are they any minimum EOL guarantees, etc.? You get the gist of it. And his response is, and I got to say something about the response, but his response was this: we get this a lot. I hear you. Moving to the cloud is scary. I felt the same way when music was transitioning from files to streaming. I still have all my old CDs in the garage, though it's hard to find a CD player these days. The same happens to movies and photos and my docs and other files. And it's great. Games are no different. Eventually, all of our games will be safely in the cloud too, and we'll feel great about it. We've been investing a ton in tech, infrastructure, and partnerships over the past few years. Nothing in life is certain, but we're committed to making Stadia a success. The games you buy on Stadia are yours to play. From day one, we'll support takeout so that you can download your game's metadata, including saves if you want to. Of course, it's okay to doubt my word. There's nothing I can say now to make you believe if you don't. But what we can do is to launch the service and continue investing in it for years to come. Exactly how we've been doing with Gmail, Docs, music, movies, and photos. That's exactly what we're committed to do. And I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that response at first, I was like, come on, man, really, dude? I mean, okay, I understand, you as a director and over this project, you gotta be optimistic. You gotta believe this thing gonna be around for a while. You're not gonna wanna give anyone doubt, but that was a good question, especially anyone who's been around Google. We've seen you guys just out of nowhere say, you know what, this project didn't work. It's time to bail. We out. We just saw that with, we know Hangout's about to go away. You know, we have what was Google's social network that Google Plus is gone. So for someone to ask the question, hey, I just spent this money on your games, and it's not like PlayStation where it's physical. If your gaming system goes away, if Stadia goes away, you decide to pull the plug on it. What's going to happen with my money? But the honest question we already know. You spend your money on this and they pull the plug, you're going to be out of luck because unless that game is able to be played on another platform, unfortunately, it is what it is. And it's no different if you was to buy a game on, PlayStation, and let's say, you bought back in the day the old school PlayStation games and they decide to pull the plug, it's over. Well, I'll take that back because that's untrue. Because back in the day, when you bought a PlayStation game, you still had a physical copy, and as long as the PlayStation console was available, you can always play it. So that was a bad analogy on my part. And really, that's a good question. If you decide to pull the plug on there, what's going to happen? Because, yeah, it's not a physical copy. I can't download it. I can't take it anywhere. And, everything is saved to your cloud. You own it. I know you say I own it, but the reality is anyone who understands how cloud services work, it's not that we own it. We own the rights to play it. But at the end of the day, they own it on their cloud. And, I've dealt with this with Amazon when they switched over from the music player from back in the day when I had the Droid and they moved over to their Prime Music. There was a lot of CDs and stuff, well, not CDs, but songs and stuff that when they converted over, I ended up losing. And it was a lot of times because of server change or something like that. And yeah, if you are basically on a cloud and that's the only way you can play games and that cloud system goes away and it's gone, you're done. And that's a good question. And if you're deciding to subscribe to Stadia, understand that there's a possibility of something that can happen. And even though they have in their mind that they're expecting this thing to be around a while, and obviously this person, he's expecting to be around a while because I don't think he's expecting this to go up, in flames or, be done and one and done in a year or something. But, just the same way we can't predict the future, neither can he. And this thing can be a bust and fall on his face. Now, I think this thing going to make it at least a year easily. But yeah, 2-3 years from now, if Google decides to say, you know what, we're not making enough money off the Stadia thing, we're losing. Or both Xbox and PlayStation finds a way to do what they're doing better, and people are not coming to Google Stadia. They're flocking to them. They're leaving here. You don't think Google's going to pull the plug on this? Yes, they will, because they're not going to want to continue to lose money on it. And if they pull the plug and you have no way to play this anymore, that's going to be something to think about. Now, what I think may happen is in some form, some way, Google may find a way to integrate this into their Google TV or to their Chromecast where, even if they pull the plug on, quote, Stadia, any games that you did keep or purchase, you would be able to play later, and that'd be interesting to see how that would go. But yeah, if they pull a plug on this, that may be it. Now, next question. Guam 1998. He says currently only the Chromecast Ultra is reported to have Stadia support. Will the Chromecast 3 eventually get Stadia as well? Just like other Android phones will get it eventually, or are there hardware limitations on a version of the Chromecast? And his response is, we're starting with the Chromecast Ultra because, well, we had to start somewhere, and it supports the full 4K Stadia experience in its glory. We're going to add more options for all our TV gamers, and don't forget that you can play Stadia games on PCs and laptops by simply opening a Chrome browser. I think that one, that's a good question because there may be a lot of people who don't have the Chromecast Ultra, they have the Chromecast 3, and, they not want to go out there and spend their money on a Chromecast, quote, Ultra right now. They may say, look, I got this Chromecast, I got the older version of Chromecast, I would like to be able to play it on that. And I think eventually over time we may see it make its way, whether it be through Google themselves or some third-party developer doing something to make it work. But, as far as officially, I think Google will probably, keep it to their Ultra at least for the first 6-7 months. And then later on, I think we may start to see it trickle down to the older Chromecast, especially if it start picking up, more people start gaming on it. And then there's this demand that say, look, I'm not quite want to buy a new Chromecast, but I have one. And yeah, we can get people on the older Chromecast playing on or able to play a game, especially we give them like a free game to play. We are pretty much assured that we have more subscribers jump on board. Yeah, I won't be surprised if Google just flipped the switch and allow them to play like the quote the free version, 1080p version. Makes sense. So next question, and he actually asked this question. And I think this is actually a cool question that was asked, and this was about RevNord. What Stadia feature are you most proud of that hasn't been talked about, or you don't think is getting much coverage? And his response was, me playing Assassin's Creed on my son's dirt cheap Chromebook. It almost feels like a glitch in the Matrix. It can't be happening, but wait, it works. And I think that's kind of cool, and I think that is kind of fitting for me, which excites me about the possibility of Stadia, is a simple fact that, man, just by opening Chrome, browser, that's all you got to do. Go to Chrome on any computer, you can play it and have a smooth experience, and the possibilities it's going to open up for gaming and how it can really change the platform in general. You don't have to have an Xbox. You don't have to have a PlayStation. You don't have to invest in any hardware. You literally can start with the hardware you have at your house. You don't need anything to get started. All you got to do is literally sign in, click, and play. And man, if that's not a way to kind of, advertise your service and get it started, I don't know any better way you can. You don't have to go to the store to invest in anything. You don't have to stand in line to check out for games. You don't have to download anything. You can push play. Let's go. And, for someone who may be, new to gaming like myself, like I said, one of the things that, kind of turned me off for, the games is like I picked up a PlayStation 4 on Black Friday and finally got it home and, spent hours trying to get it to download, hours trying to get things to update. And I'm like, man, I would like to just, jump in and game it. And there are a lot of people who feel that way, and this is a good way to do that. So I'm liking that. Let's see. Is there last question? I think this is a good one. Is there anything being done to combat data caps? Or is that purely on us to converse with our ISP? $50 extra a month for me to just not have a data cap. Let me ask that again. Let's say, is there, and this was by Tato23, by the way. Is there anything being done to combat data caps? That was the first question. And then he says, or is that purely on us to converse with our ISPs? Second question. And then the third one, $50, or this is a statement, $50 extra a month for me to just not have a data cap. And his response, I can't predict the future, but I've seen that ISPs adapt in the past. I saw it when I was at YouTube, and we expect that to continue. For players concerned about data usage, we'll definitely have some tools in the Stadia app to manage your data. usage to adapt to your unique data situation. But I'm not sure if that will be on day one or a bit later. There's a lot of great ISPs offering plans with hundreds of megabytes per second or even gigabytes and no caps. We're seeing different progress in different countries and are certainly expecting ISPs to continue to improve these services. And basically, this is the same or similar response that Google gave before about these data caps. They're expecting, quote, ISPs to change their mind, and I stand by what I just said. I'm not expecting ISPs to change their mind. Those that are already having or they already have data caps, I don't see them lifting anytime soon because they see the money that's about to come. And those that do not are obviously going to continue to stay that way. And unfortunately, when it comes to ISPs, it's not like you can always switch, especially in some area where you are stuck with only one cable provider. Or if you got to either choose the cable provider or your wireless service. And that's going to be a problem for a lot of people. And, I think it's going to really affect a lot of people being able to jump on board. And I can see people saying, I'm not going to jump on this because I'm not going to want to deal with the data issues and data caps and overage fees I've got to pay just to play a game. I'd rather go just pick up an Xbox or a PlayStation and save my money on fighting ISPs on data. And like I said, especially a company like Charter, who they know how to, I'm sorry I said Charter, but Xfinity Comcast, who do have some data caps and they're about that money. Man, I do not see them lifting that data cap anytime soon. Hopefully they do. I think it's going to push those to do that. As it would be other competition, whether it be 5G. And like I said, if 5G is coming from the wireless service, they're not going to be lifting any data caps. Matter of fact, I expect them to have data caps or have tiered data because they're about that money as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there. They didn't answer that. One thing I do not like is the simple fact that they're saying from day one they're not going to have some way where you can have some tools to manage your data. That's going to be something that they need to. I would like to see them change, especially like I said again, if you're someone who's concerned about that, you're going to want to be able to keep up what's going on. How much data you're using. And I think for even those who may be on the premier plan or the premium plan, if they're on some way where they're concerned about their data, if they want to downgrade everything to 1080p to kind of save on data or a little bit lower resolution to kind of save on the data they're using, I hope that Google make this something that's an option and is made available early on at the start so that, those that are concerned about that, those that do have the issue, they can address that and not be like kind of blind and say, hey, look, this is what it is, and you're kind of going to take it forward, but you got to deal with until we're able to add those other settings. But with those questions, I'm still looking forward to Google Stadia. I kind of can't wait to see what comes in November. There's obviously a lot of people who are excited about it, and I'm kind of curious for you guys out there if, those of you who are interested in Stadia, what are your thoughts on these questions and his response? What questions did you have that you'd like to see answered from him? What do you want to see out of Stadia? What are your concerns? I think the major concerns that I'm seeing, obviously being brought up have to do with data caps, and Google's really have not done a good enough job really answering that. And honestly, I don't think we're going to get an honest answer for how that's going to work until it gets unveiled. So honestly, if you're someone who's concerned about data caps, this is going to be a problem for you. You may either want to hold off on this or, have a backup plan just in case it don't work like you thinking. And thank you guys again for joining me for another Stadia Talk. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Stadia in general. And man, I can't wait till November so we can get to gaming. Have a good evening. I'm out.